Hello and welcome to the Greater Birmingham Chamber of Commerce Q&A session. And today I'm delighted to be joined by the President of the Transatlantic Chamber of Commerce, Professor Julian Beer. Julian, hello.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Good.
Very well.
Strange times.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I mean, I don't think we've ever heard the word unprecedented used so often, have we?
At least once a day. Absolutely.
So, Julian, I mean, as president of the Greater Birmingham Transatlantic Chamber, I mean, give us just a little sense of how different it is, leading that element of the chamber during the coronavirus crisis and this period of lockdown.
Yeah, really interesting. I mean, leading the Transatlantic Chamber, we're one of 23 chapters and offices right across the UK, Canada, and the US. And in the Brexit period, in the run-up to Brexit, I said consistently how important trade on both sides of the transatlantic was going to be, the Atlantic was going to be. And, then this happens. So not just, the run-up to Brexit, we've now had this unprecedented, and I'll say it again, situation with COVID-19. So I think it's even more important, not just with Brexit that will follow at some stage, but it's even more important now to build those connections and those relationships across the Atlantic, both in US and with Canada. So, I think it's doubly important because of COVID-19 and with the Brexit following hard on its heels, I'd imagine.
And I suppose as we get through the sort of the immediate lockdown that we're in, and then we'll return to whatever the new normal is in stages, it sort of feels. And there's been this huge shock to the economy. We're all sort of aware of that. But as we start to look forward, being able to have as many opportunities, as many markets, I suppose, to trade your goods in, all your services, is going to be critically important. So do you sort of feel that in some ways this period of strain, almost like a pause, I guess, is a chance for people to be exploring the art of what might be possible in future? And if you've not been, say, looking at the US or Canada as potential markets, and they're great markets to trade in fact they're our largest single, the US is the largest single sort of trading partner, then now is the time to be digging in, isn't it? Because while you may not be able to do so right now, but you can still sort of get yourself ready.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, this is an absolute crucial time. We're in sort of resilient stage at the moment in terms of COVID-19, but we've got a crucial post-COVID bounce period, the recovery period that we've got to exploit in terms of our networks, connections and relationships across the Atlantic. US and Canada, as you rightly say, it's the biggest marketplace for the West Midlands. We've got a trading surplus in the West Midlands with the US, a really large trading surplus. We've got a lot of friends over there, a lot of companies that have got connections in the West Midlands, and it's going to be absolutely crucial to exploit and explore those relationships. And even in this lockdown period, I was on a call yesterday with offices in Chicago and a guy sitting in, I think he was in Pune in India. And that is an Indian business with a large presence in the US. And we were exploring some opportunities for my university with my other job, my day job as Deputy Vice Chancellor, and looking at how we can work together. And it was really easy to do business. And we were on Zoom, as we are now. So we're using a digital platform, and we were discussing the future. And we all said, in this time, we've got a real opportunity to explore those connections and those networks, and try and think about what are the business opportunities, because this is a huge market for us in the West Midlands and for the UK. And we really need to be well positioned, not just sitting down, contemplating our current situation. We need to be looking at the future.
I couldn't agree more. And it's definitely one of the lessons I'm sure lots of people are feeling, the rapid adoption of things like Zoom and Teams and the like. Absolutely. Some people were using them before, but I think, the business communities now, everyone is very au fait with these tools. And it does bring overseas markets so much closer, doesn't it? Because we're sat probably about 10 miles apart now, but we could
Yeah,
be 1,000 miles apart. It wouldn't really make a blind bit of difference, would it?
you can do deals in seconds.
Yeah,
You just connect using one of the platforms that are available, and you can connect to anywhere.
yeah,
So it's really it's an interesting dynamic that comes out of COVID-19. I think there'll be a lot more mixed use of technology, but also face to face. You can't
yeah,
beat doing a deal face to face, as you'll know, Paul. But having the first exploration and just testing the water
yeah.
with digital technology and just seeing if there's an opportunity there, I think that's going to change fundamentally post this situation.
Now you mentioned the day job, say deputy vice chancellor at Birmingham City University. I
Yeah.
mean, how is the university? And I mean, some of the challenges that you've got there in terms of sort of just teaching all of the students, and I guess taking care of them as well.
Yeah, we had to go into action very, very quickly. Obviously, we've got a duty of care to our students and to our staff. So we had to make sure that immediately we were told to close or shut down operations or restrict operations by central government. We had to go to teaching online very, very quickly. We had to make sure that our staff had the opportunity to use technology to actually communicate and do their day jobs. And then we've had to think, really seriously about our international students and what we did with our international students, including our US students and Canadian students, to make sure that they were safe and repatriated to their own countries if they wanted to go there. But there's a lot of things we can't do digitally in this lockdown period. If you think about research, for instance,
Mm.
when you need teams working closely together with big bits of kit, you can't exactly take a big electron microscopy set home and then try and work on Teams or Zoom or something to actually analyze samples or do something like that.
Yeah,
So there are challenges. The immediate situation for the teaching side, we've overcome and overcome well, I think. And we're just daily looking at the contingency plans and looking for the future when we're hopefully returning to campus.
and I suppose there's that element of set pieces like graduation ceremonies,
Yeah,
and I know university always has a spectacular graduation in Symphony Hall, normally every summer, isn't it? And
that's
people
right.
who won't be able to do that this year. I mean, I suppose you're making plans for sort of
Yeah,
virtual ceremonies or ways of bringing people back and making sure
we
that affinity is really strong down the line.
Yeah, we're looking at both. If there is a gradual traffic light system where you get the green following the amber, so we start to gradually go back to some sort of normality, even if it's got social distancing attached to that. So we're looking at a later in this year graduation because it's a really special time for thousands of our
Yeah,
students and also for our on-docs. So we give out honorary doctorates every year. We've got a few special names and special people this year that deserve to be on that stage and inspiring our students. So we don't want to deprive our students and family members from
yeah,
seeing their sons and daughters graduate. It is a special moment. And it
yeah,
also generates multi-millions for the economy in
yeah,
Birmingham. With all of the spend in the restaurants, in the pubs and the clubs, in the shoe shops, because you
yeah,
see an amazing array of shoes that go by on the graduation ceremony, where people have spent an awful lot of money on their clothes and their shoes
yeah,
to look really cool on the day. So it's a big set piece. So we want to
yeah,
make sure that that continues. We also
yeah,
had for the Transatlantic Chamber, we've hosted globally the last 2 years our big set piece conferences in Birmingham for the US, Canada, and the UK. And we were going to do it again this year in the summer. And we're going to do it again, but slightly wider and include some of the Commonwealth countries this time
yeah.
round. Because Canada obviously is part of that, but the US not. But invite the US in to participate as well. But I think we're going to go online with that one
Yeah,
because, as you were saying right at the very beginning of this, we do need to make sure that we're in a position to connect and do business across the Atlantic as well as the Commonwealth. So I
yeah.
think we're going to go digitally and have a real good go at it in the virtual space.
Yeah, I think that's going to be towards the end of June, so certainly something to look out for, and we'll make it a special sort of event. And as you say, while it's always been amazing, and holding that conference in the rather spectacular conservatoire that you have at the university, the Royal Conservatoire.
I was going to say the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire, absolutely.
But when you have to innovate, you can sometimes find ways to make it even larger. Now, one thing I just wanted to get your thoughts on, I suppose, was news that we've had today about Curzon Street Station, which is the terminus for HS2 in Birmingham, has received planning permission, which is absolutely fantastic news. And you and I were down there when the Prime Minister gave HS2 his sort of full support following the Oakervee review. You and I, again, we hosted Mr. Oakervee, didn't he, when he came up to
we
to
did
Birmingham.
indeed.
And I know that HS2 is a project that's very important to the university, and you've done a phenomenal job in terms of banging the drum for HS2 and the economic benefit that it's going to bring to the city. But I mean, what were your thoughts on just seeing the news about the station? It's another step towards it all becoming more real, isn't it?
Really, really positive in this post-COVID bounce period, to see that getting the green light finally, with some really good design there as well, is really encouraging, because the construction industry, all the allied professional services that are attached to the construction industry, but also the inward investors that I've been speaking to, and you've been speaking to over the last 18 months to 2 years, who were predicating their plans on investing in Birmingham, and significant sums of money, to see the green light for Curzon Station, which I can see from my office window as it's developing, is really, it's the news, that sort of news that we need. And we're going to need other big infrastructure projects announcements in the bounce back.
It's a good reminder, I think, isn't it, that while when you're locked down, it can feel very claustrophobic, and it's hard to sort of see much of a horizon in the distance. And it's sort of news which does, we've been talking about HS2 for a long time, and the sort of the driving force behind our regeneration, but things are still going on like that, and it's going to play an even more critical role, I suppose, in the post-COVID rebirth that we will need to go through. But it feels like we'll be well placed here in the Midlands to sort of seize that challenge because of infrastructure investment like that, and then I guess the spirit and attitude of our people and our businesses.
Absolutely, and we've got other projects that are attached to that, such as the West Midlands National Park. So one of my professors, Professor Catherine Moore, has been leading the charge on that, and the Mayor Andy Street has adopted that in his policy document, and wants to try and move that forward. And the Curzon Station, we proposed some pretty ambitious plans of creating a central park again. A link back to the US and North America there, right next door to the Curzon Station. So it's projects like that that can spur other projects that are big, visionary, strategic projects that we're going to need, as well as the practicalities of getting down and getting the diggers in the ground. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, so it's nice to remind ourselves that there's exciting times and opportunities ahead. Julian, any final sort of thoughts for those who are watching today, just I suppose on the short term and what the business community needs to be doing right now?
So in terms of the business community, whether you're part owned or you're a back office of an American or Canadian company, or whether you've got no connection with currently with Canada or the US, I'd say that you really need to think about connecting with the Chamber and the Transatlantic Chamber to start exploring those opportunities for networking and leveraging in Canada and the US. Start thinking about it now and acting on it now, because when we come out of this, you want to be first mover. Get into those markets and get into those markets quick. And myself, my colleagues and the colleagues at the Chamber of Commerce can actually help and support you make those connections and drive your business forward.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Julian, thank you for all that you're doing, both driving the Transatlantic Chamber and also the great work that you're doing at Birmingham City University. Been great talking to you, and I'll let you get on to the next Zoom meeting.
Thank you. It's a privilege and a pleasure, as always. Thank you very much indeed.